gear up your team for the postseason, I would guess, with your record and everything, you're probably right on schedule. I guess you're right where you want to be going into the postseason.
Yeah, I feel pretty good. Everybody's healthy. Finished strong. Yeah, I like where we're at.
And specifically to health, Kenzie, all right after?
Yeah, we're just really taking it slow there. We're trying to give her rest, and certainly don't want to use her unnecessarily or even in practice if we're going to hurt anything more. So feels good. She took swings today, so it's a good start.
Is that the first time she's taken swings?
To my knowledge, but knowing her,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I want to ask you about Jen and the job that she's done with the pitchers. What is it that you feel like sort of sets her apart as a pitching coach?
She does a lot of research. She's constantly looking at her iPad and looking at numbers and looking at video, and she has a really calm, cool demeanor about her. And I think that's a good balance for our staff because we're all made differently, but she's the calm in the storm, usually always. She has a good sense of creating a team within a team. So these pitchers are very connected, very rooting for each other. And I think sometimes that's not easy to do on a staff of pitchers specifically, because usually they're thought of as divas or what have you. So she's done a good job of keeping them together and working well together and fighting for each other and celebrating each other's victories and big moments.
You've been able to keep your innings in check with your pitchers. How much is that going to help you in the postseason?
A lot. They're healthy. No one is complaining about any kind of issues at all. So that is a big plus for us.
You mentioned it a little bit Saturday. How big was the seventh inning for Kirsten on Saturday?
I think that was a game changer for us to see her go in, and she doesn't get a lot of opportunity. But we all remember the first day the first game she threw a few innings, and it was deer in the headlights, and she was very awkward and uncomfortable on the mound. You could see that, and to see how far she's come is what everybody was really, she captured our hearts, watching her settle in, have command, kind of pointing around at the infield, like she's done it a million times, and to get us out of that big inning was a big celebration. I think that really got things started for us.
How big is that maybe just for her development or confidence moving forward to have that kind of performance?
Tremendous. And she's stuck on a staff. I don't say the word stuck, but she's on a staff that have some really elite pitching. So she's learning and she's taking this in stride and getting those opportunities when she can and making the best of them. So in a big moment like that, it's really outstanding to see her thrive in it, and she wants more. She's hungry. You can feel it already. Like, she's not asking, but her look at me is like, when are you going to give me the ball again? So
in baseball, we talk a lot about matchups, lefty on lefty, righty on righty. In softball, is it that big of a deal?
Oh yeah. She came in against lefties and worked out of it really well. So confidence-wise for her, but for the team as well, to say we've got a fourth pitcher that can come in and help us that was a big moment.
Talk about her a little bit. It looks like her stuff's really good. it looks like she throws hard.
Yeah, she can throw hard. She will throw harder, but usually freshmen take time to gain strength and they develop, and she is developed really well. She does. Her ball moves really well. She has really good command. She doesn't, at practice, she doesn't walk people very much, She kind of gets them to miss hit at times. So, she can definitely be a postseason weapon for us.
This will sound negative, but what more do you want to see out of your team going into the postseason? What areas would you like to see, I guess, a big jump in improvement, if there is any?
There's always something. So, I think short game needs to be better. I don't use it a lot, but when I do, it's important. I don't know if anybody even paid attention, but the celebration when Grace Lyons got a bunt, that was a Grace, laid it down and beat it out. I thought they weren't quite ready for it. The elements, those type of elements, that angle down and runs, hit and runs, those things, if we can execute them. We had a few stolen bases on run and hits. I don't want to be a team that's just long ball, because we can't live off of that, especially in Oklahoma, the way the wind moves. You've got to change your game plan can be changed completely due to the wind and the weather. I liked how we brought that to the table against Oklahoma State, and I think it really energized the team. So I think a little bit better base running, short game, more executing the calling card is something I want to see a little more of. It's just sometimes I'm not brave enough to call it because I'm like, what am I doing? If I get her thrown out and then we hit a home run, I play those games in my head. But all phases are really good. I think just confidence, just this team, these players are really hard on themselves, and they need to give themselves a little bit more grace and understanding that you're not going to get a hit every at bat, but their expectations are through the roof.
Piggybacking off of that a little bit, Saturday, you guys come back and have a huge win against OSU. How big was that for the team, confidence-wise, knowing that whatever situation they're in, they can battle back and get through it?
That was big because we were not hitting the ball well. We were just I think we got the first game, played well. Second game, they were just, it was kind of like that. But I'm not taking away, their pitcher was outstanding. She really was. Their pitching staff is really good. So we were struggling a bit. And for them to come back and finish it the way they did, really catapulted them into Sunday, because truly we likely could have lost 2 of 3 or maybe all 3 and still be the #1 seed and so forth. But they have this kind of pride that they don't want to give up a game to anybody. They just always feel that they're better in that way. So I'll tell you this, they live for what's coming. They can get through 50 games and lose 1 and just, all right. But they're living for what's coming. And they'll tell you that in August. That's all. They've had to wait a long time to get here. And their energy will be ready. I mean, they're amped. They love this time of the season.
You talk about the players and their reaction to it. I'm curious about something you said in the first answer to Dylan's first question. You talked about having to sort of fight yourself sometimes when you're like, yeah, what if the next girl hits a home run and get an out at second base? Do you have to sort of fight against that to make sure you have this team as prepared as possible for this time of the year when games get tighter? You might need some of those things that you haven't for a lot of the regular season?
Yes, definitely. I think that's what our aim is going to be throughout practice, is just making sure we have any kind of game plan we want to put out there that we can execute it. So it's important to work those short game squeezes. Like I said, like hit and runs, run and hits, those types of chops work, where if you hit the ball hard on the ground and we're at third, we can, if we're running, we're easily scoring. So we're gonna amp that up a little bit, but yeah, it's hard sometimes. It's all about the situation, the score, who's coming up. I mean, there's a lot to think about in a very short period of time. But we just looked at some video back when, like, Sid Romero and Shea Knighton and all those athletes were freshmen, and we didn't have the strength to hit it out. We didn't hit a lot of home runs. So we turned it into like that run and gun, just, runners in motion and hitting hard ground balls up the middle with the runner at second, putting the runner in motion, and we score easy. It's almost a little bit of the way the Japanese team, the Japan team plays, and it's hard to defend it. So we have a little balance of all of it. We have a lot of things we can do, but that's how that team won a national championship, was just being so tremendous with bat control. Not power, but bat control. So we can balance that a little bit. We have a lot to work with.
and let you win games in a lot of different ways.
A lot.
What's
Patty,
your
I
thought?
think your first visit to Hall of Fame Stadium with this program was April 5th, 1995. You split a doubleheader with Oklahoma State.
How did you know that? 'Cause I
The
don't
internet's
even
amazing.
remember.
Well,
it was
April 5th, 1995.
I think I got thrown out of that game.
Really? Well, I was going to
I
ask what your
think so.
recollections were.
That
How
I
did
got
that
thrown
happen?
out of that game.
How'd you get thrown out?
I don't remember. It was so long ago. I do remember I got thrown out my first year against Oklahoma State. Was it at the Hall of
Was
Fame
that- yeah, yeah.
Stadium? I had no idea what to do. They're like, point me to where I'm supposed to go. I don't have any idea what to do here.
Did you get thrown out often that season?
No. No, I didn't know what I said, actually. I mean, because I don't use language like that, so I don't even know. But I was a newcomer, so they probably had this much respect for what I was doing or anything. So I can get away with a lot more these days, but
Well,
I try not to. I need these guys. I need them.
I'm sure the crowd that was there a month or so back for Texas was very different than the crowd that day, and the environment was different than that day.
Golly, yeah, I think I'll never forget the moment at Hall of Fame Stadium. I forgot about the one that you just mentioned for good reason, but back then there was maybe 400 people there, and now we're standing in front of 9,000 with their camera lights on. That just melted my heart. But for me, I'm someone that can see it full circle, and it's just unreal. And I don't even know how to explain it. When you talk to people, they're like, oh, that's cool. But I'm like, no, really, you don't understand. So, I mean, I just appreciate it, and those who have been around appreciate it.
What kind of environment has it become for you guys? And all the things you have going for you this time of year, there's also the fact that you can stay closed this weekend, you can even stay home and go back and forth there. I don't know about a second home, but what's it become?
It's nice to kind of call it a second home. We're very comfortable playing there, and anytime we walk in there, whether it's in the fall game or spring against Texas or what have you, it is always a wow factor. But it gets more wow as more fans are there. It got really wow when they expanded the stadium to where the sounds are so different that you can't really hear yourself talk. You just feel it electric and all around you. Only thing I could relate it to is standing on the sideline of an OU football game. And I never in a million years thought that I would be telling you, I can't hear you. Like, let me come in to talk to you through your helmet. I never thought in a million years that would be something I would be saying.
Jada Coleman was named the Player of the Year this year. Your thoughts on that?
Worthy. There's probably 3 or 4 players on our team that easily could have won that award. So Jada's had a good year, and I'm really proud of her. She's very passionate. I know you see how athletic she is, but she also has matured quite a bit and is really putting excellence not only on the field but in the classroom and decisions and things like that. So I've really seen her grow into a woman.
A couple years ago, right around this time was when all the instant replay talk started kicking up. Now that we've had it for a couple of years, how do you feel like it's affected the game?
In a wonderful way. Oh yeah, in a wonderful way. And our umpires do the best job they can. I never second guess that, but no one is perfect, and I think about every other sport in the country collegiately has some kind of instant replay. It has been a game changer for all of us, and I think the umpires appreciate it because they want the call to be right. They do. So it has been. It's funny because I think it's tremendous for our game to get the call right or the situation right or whatever it is. but it's a different feeling when the umpires disappear. And it's a big moment in the game and they disappear. And then here they come out and you're like, my heart's going like, oh God. And then when the call's for you, everyone's like we just won or something, like we just scored a big run. Everybody's cheering, and then when you don't get it, you're like, oh, wow, what a loser I am. And I'm like, wait, why am I feeling that way? Something to do with me. So it's dramatic. It feels very dramatic when they come back with the big call, and they make it dramatic too. 'Cause they make you wait. They make you walk. You have to watch them walk a long way before they do it. And I'm like, oh. So I just think it brings kind of it's the right thing to do, and I think everybody, including umpires, agree.
Was that ever a problem for you, like when you thought a call was a certain way, but they couldn't look back at it? Did that ever like fester within you?
Well, that's what usually would send me out of the stadium, and many other coaches as well, because sometimes when it's right in front of you, and you see it clearly. So yeah, I mean, there are times when it can cost you a game, but now that we have these opportunities, just makes you feel, even if it's wrong, even if it doesn't go for you, you still feel it's good that it's right, So the problem is everybody's got to get good cameras out there, because when you have ESPN and their cameras, you can see every angle. When you are going somewhere, and even here, we don't have the best angles and enough cameras to cover everything, and that's important, because if it's grainy or it's not very evident, they won't do anything. You can't even see it.
You touched on Grace Hines a bit ago. I want to go ask her as she enters just her final postseason run before first release here. Just what do you think has been the biggest impact she's made on the program, and what do you hope she leaves behind in this final title run?
I've said it, and I'll say it until someone else comes along, but she's the best shortstop I've ever seen. She's a complete player, offensively, defensively. She makes plays look so easy. She's very calm. She's very humble. I just love her style. It's very smooth, but it's very team. It's very, she's got a big smile, but she's never, look at me, look what she never wants the credit. She wants you to think that every play she makes is a play that she should make. And so the wow factor, she doesn't care about those things. She doesn't care about awards. She is our team captain. I know that's something she's going to leave behind. Just very cool, very calm, very sensible, very faith-based. She's made a big impact on this program. And I hope one day to coach somebody that good, but they're hard to find.
Patty, what about the Big 12? What kinds of leagues, what kind of tournaments is it going to be?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, how good is the league?
Good. Well, Baylor just did a job this last weekend, so we've got your top four, the top, Baylor, Texas, Oklahoma State, ourselves in the top 15 or 20. But I'm going to tell you, Texas Tech could swing it. Kansas took down Texas. Iowa State took down Oklahoma State. So better play a good game, or anybody can beat anybody, and they showed it this season.
You talked about wanting to put this team in the hostile environments throughout the season. Just what do you make of the team's response to that, and how do you feel like that helps going forward in the postseason?
I think they really enjoyed being out at Stillwater. Whether it is hostile or for you, they just like environment, and they thrive in it. So I think finishing at Oklahoma State should really help us as we go forward. It was a good atmosphere and a tough atmosphere, but they embrace those things.
What's been the approach? We're preparing for different teams right now, getting into the first game?
Sorry, one more time.
What's been the approach of preparing for two different teams as you prepare for the first game?
None as of yet. So tomorrow they move their games to 10 o'clock. So the team's gonna come in, we're gonna watch the second half and then start our practice versus trying to prepare for two different. I think that will help us get a little more focused on what we need to. So we made that little change to help us.
TRA is having a great year. She hasn't hit the home runs. I'm glad when people call me and want to talk softball, but I get kind of mad when they're going, TRA is not really. And I'm going, yeah, she's having a great year. You have to understand, she hits that ball off the wall against Oklahoma State. That's almost out, but that wins the game for you. She's really having a good year, isn't she?
She's having a great year. And look at her RBIs, look at her doubles. I mean, she's not Jocelyn Allo. And at the same time, still, we're still losing innings and at bats, because I was counting it up today because Coach Rocha and I were talking about pitchers' innings. And Patrick, what's our record? 49-1. We played 50 games and we run ruled 23. So that takes away a lot of at bats, takes away a lot of innings. So you could look at our numbers and go, wow. Well, if they don't have the opportunity, they can't do much with it. And that's hurt our pitchers a little bit, but helped them stay fresh. But if you're looking at maybe post-season recognition, I don't have a pitcher that's throwing 200 innings. And there are a lot of pitchers out there that are. But this team understands we don't care. We don't care. I told them, when you come back for a reunion, I'm not going to go, oh, you're the girl that, oh yeah, you're the one that won Big 12, first team. I don't care. We don't care. We like to do things as a team in everything that we do. And so, yeah, there is a lot of talk, and that's another thing we need to make sure we stay out of, is control what we look at, control what we listen to, control what we believe and what we don't believe. And a lot of people want in on it, and that's really important that we they take care of what they're doing and what they're listening to, because it does hurt their confidence if they're believing that they should be doing something better. And right now they're all doing everything really well.
You talk about what you can control. Obviously you can't control the weather, but as a coach, do you change anything or talk in any kind of certain way, like what if this week as you prepare, knowing there could be a ton of rain this weekend?
We haven't really yet. I know that will be potentially an issue, but living here helps us know how to deal with that. So I think we'll be okay.
I don't know that we've asked you about this before, but thinking about the replay and looking back at some changes, looking forward, we've seen in baseball the speed up rules that have come in the last couple of years in college and now in Major League Baseball. Do you feel like that's coming to softball? And what's your thoughts on that?
I'm okay with it. We played a 3.5-hour game with Oklahoma State, which is not good for our sport. And the reason why people are jumping over to softball is because we can get in that 2-hour window and you can move on with your day. And so, yeah, I do think there are things that are coming sooner than later. And I think it would be fabulous if we had opportunity to communicate. If I could have a little Janet Jackson microphone and communicate with people, I wouldn't have to call timeout. They don't have to look at cards. I mean, we could save a lot of time. So I think that might be something that's talked about. They're talking about keeping the foot in the box and not letting players get out of the box, limiting, well, they've already tried to put a limit on like catchers, pitcher meetings and so forth. So I do. The games they're not good for television, and that's what got us where we are right now. And the public really jumping all over this is that 2-hour, 2:15 window. And we certainly don't want to mess with that.